Good day student, today we are taking the S block elements in exam time series. So let us start with S block elements. As we know, S block elements are those elements in which last electron enters into the valence S subcell. Since the capacity of S orbital S subcell is to accommodate 2 electrons, so there are two groups in this block. Group number 1, it includes element Halina Krab-Kasper. They have general configuration of NS1. Then we have group number 2. It has the element BMG ka Sarbana. They have general configuration NS2. Now the first question in this block is why group 1 elements are called as alkali metal. The reason is obvious that these metals they react with water to produce strong alkalis. That's why they are called as alkali forming element. They are called as alkali metals. Then we have second question, why group 2 elements are called as alkaline earth metals. Since these elements also form alkalis on reaction with water and their oxides are heat resistant just like alumina, which is popularly known as earth. So the oxides of these elements they are not affected by the heat just like alumina, which is popularly called as earth. So combining the two qualities of these metals to form alkalis and the behavior of their oxide as earth, their name has been coined as alkaline earth metals. Then we have the question number 3, why sizes of group 2 elements are smaller than group 1 elements? The reason for this is when we move left to right in the periodic table, the nuclear charge continuously increases, but the number of outer cells they do not change. The number of outer cells remains same. So in case of the alkaline earth metal, the nuclear charge that increases as compared to alkali metal. That's why the outer cell they are pulled more nearer to the nucleus, and the atomic sizes of group 2 element become smaller than the atomic sizes of group 1 element. Then we have the question why ionization enthalpy decreases from top to bottom in both groups. It is the general trend when we move top to bottom in any group, the number of cells continuously increases. When number of cells increase, the effective nuclear force per electron that decreases. That's why the ionization energy of alkali metals as well as alkaline earth metal that decreases when we move top to bottom. Then we come to the question, tell oxidation states of group 1 and group 2. As they have one electron, group 1 element, they will show +1 oxidation state, and group 2 will show +2 oxidation state by losing 2 outer electrons from the valence cells. Then why melting and boiling point of group 1 element is less than that of group 2 element? Why melting point and boiling point of group 1 elements is less than group 2 elements? The reason for this is that group 1 element they have only one electron available for metallic bonding. That's why they possess weak metallic bonding, and due to which their melting and boiling point that becomes lesser. Then why alkali metals are softer than alkaline earth metals? Then group 2 element. The reason for this is they have weak metallic bonding due to only availability of only one valence electron. That's why they are softer due to weak metallic lattice. Then out of group 1 and group 2 metal ions, which one has high hydration energy? Question number 8 is why hydration energy of group 2 metal ions is higher than group 1 metal ions. The reason for this is the sizes of group 2 metal ion, they are smaller. The smaller ion, they are heavily hydrated by water molecules and release large amount of energy. While alkali metals and alkaline earth metal, they give color to the flame. While alkali and alkaline earth metals give color to the flame. So the reason for this, why alkali metals and alkaline earth metal they give color to the flame, the reason for this is that both alkali metals and alkaline earth metal they have comparatively low ionization energies and are capable of exciting their valence electrons to the higher energy level. For this excitation, very small amount of energy is required, which is easily obtained from the flame of the Bunsen burner, and their valence electron get excited to different higher levels. When these electrons, since the excited state of the electron, that is a temporary state, when these electrons return back to the ground state, they release the absorbed energy in the form of photons of visible light. That's why those photons they gave color to the flame. Lithium gives crimson red color, sodium gives golden yellow color, potassium gives pale yellow color, rubidium gives violet color to the flame, cesium gives blue color. Then we have barium gives grassy green color, calcium gives brick red color, and strontium it gives crimson red color to the flame. Then we have another important question, that is question number 10. Why Be and Mg do not give color to the flame? It is due to their small sizes and high ionization energy. They cannot excite their valence electrons. When they cannot excite their valence electrons, so when the excitation energy is not obtainable from the flame, so when they do not excite their electron, how the electron will return back? So though no excitation of electrons, valence electron is possible by the energy of the burner. That's why they do not give to the color. They do not give color to the flame. Then we have the chemical comment upon chemical properties of alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. In these properties, we will be discussing action of oxygen, action of hydrogen, action of halogens, action of acids, action of water on these metals. Some of these properties we have already discussed, that both of these metals they combine with alkalis to they combine with water to produce strong alkalis. Now we come to the action of oxygen. Both of these metals they react with oxygen to produce oxides. For example, sodium produces sodium peroxide, sodium monoxide. Potassium and rubidium they produce superoxide. Now the question is, why potassium and rubidium they produce superoxides? Superoxide of potassium is KO2, RbO2. Similarly, barium peroxide is formed, strontium peroxide is formed. So the reason for this is formation of superoxide by potassium, rubidium, barium and strontium. It is mainly because of their high electropositive character. They are capable of engaging two oxygen with a single metal ion. That's why they are forming superoxides due to their high electropositive nature. Then we have the action of hydrogen. They produces sodium hydride on reaction with hydrogen. Potassium produces potassium hydroxide, Calcium produces calcium hydride, beryllium form polymeric hydride, barium, strontium, they have less tendency to combine with hydrogen to form the dimeric hydrides. Then we have action of halogens. Action of halogen produces NaCl, KCl, CaCl2, MgCl2, BrCl2, and so on. Then we have action of acids. All of these metals they can combine with inorganic acid like HCl, HNO3, and your H2SO4, and they produce salts on reaction with these metals. They often produce salts. For example, Ba plus 2HCl, BaCl2 plus hydrogen, Mg plus 2HCl, MgCl2 plus hydrogen. Similarly, calcium plus H2SO4 will get calcium sulfate plus hydrogen. Similarly, magnesium plus 2 nitric acid, magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen, they are evolving hydrogen. On reaction with water, as we have already explained, that sodium produces sodium hydroxide, potassium produces potassium hydroxide, calcium produces calcium hydroxide, magnesium gives magnesium hydroxide. Similarly, their oxide also combined with the water to give hydroxides. Sodium metal reacts with ethyl alcohol, liberates its active hydrogen. It explains the acidic character of the ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol combines with sodium metal to give you C2H5ONa. Then sodium metal also combines with acetylene producing sodium acetylide. Disodium acetylide is produced. This is disodium acetylide. Along with this, it produces hydrogen gas in this reaction. Then what happens when alkali metals are dipped in ammonia solution? Question is, what happens when alkali metals are mixed with ammonia solution? They produce blue colored solution due to solvated electrons. For example, we have lithium, it combines with X plus Y number of ammonia molecules and releases one electron. The lithium positive ion engages X number of ammonia molecules, and the electron released by lithium engages Y number of ammonia molecules. This electron is called as solvated electron, and it is responsible for blue color of this solution. And when they are heated with the ammonia solution, they will definitely produce sodamide. Sodium will produce sodamide on reaction with ammonia. Then we have the next question, number 14. Give peculiar characters of lithium. As we know, the first member of every family, it has some peculiar character. For example, it has small size, it has high ionization energy, it has high melting and boiling point due to covalent network among its atom, it has strong metallic bonding and absence of the vacant d orbital. In this case, it is not affected by the air easily. Its hydroxide is a very weak base because it does not produce OH ions in the aqueous medium easily, and it reacts with water at room temperature to give lithium hydroxide. Its hydroxides, carbonates and nitrates, they are less stable. They decompose on heating, producing metal oxide and your water, and in case of carbonate, carbon dioxide. In case of nitrate, NO2 gas is produced. Now, what are the uses of lithium? Lithium is used in the purification of copper and nickel metal. It is also used in the preparation of vitamin A. It is a good reducing agent. Its compound lithium aluminum hydride is used as a reducing agent in the organic chemistry. LiOH is also used as a lubricant. Then what are the uses of sodium? Sodium is used in the sodium vapor discharge lamp. It is used in the preparation of tetraethyl lead, an anti-knocking compound which is used in the ignition of petrol fuel. It is also used in the nuclear reactor. What are the uses of potassium and cesium, they are used as a reducing agent. Cesium is used in the photoelectric cells in the preparation of soft soaps. Potassium metal is used. Cesium is also used in the rocket propellants, rocket fuels में use होता है, and in the heat transfer fluid. Then what is the formula of washing soda? That is Na2CO3 10H2O. What is the formula of quicklime? That is CaO. What is the formula of baking soda? NaHCO3. Now give preparations of baking soda. Baking soda can be prepared from washing soda by passing carbon dioxide gas through its saturated solution. We get NaHCO3. It is used for baking purposes in the bakery items, and then in the preparation of medicines to remove the acidity of the stomach. It is used in the medicine. Then we have the chemical properties of sodium bicarbonate, or it is baking soda. It reacts with water to produce sodium hydroxide, which neutralizes the HCl of the stomach. Similarly, NaHCO3, it is also used in the preparation of washing soda also, and it is used in the cooking purposes. Then we have the next question, question number 15. What is Kastner-Kellner process? Kastner-Kellner process is used to prepare NaOH in the lab, and in this process what is done, NaCl, molten NaCl is taken in a 3-compartment cell. In the outer compartment NaCl is filled, while in the central compartment we have very dilute solution of NaOH. In the outer compartment, graphite rod, it acts as anode, while mercury layer it will act as cathode. In the central compartment, mercury layer will act as anode, and the graphite rods, they will act as cathode. So on passing electric current, the electrolysis of NaCl takes place in the outer compartment. Sodium metal is liberated, and along with that chlorine gas is produced. Sodium metal combines with mercury at the mercury layer, giving sodium amalgam. This amalgam is brought in the central compartment by pivoted end of the Kastner-Kellner cell, and by taking the help of eccentric wheels which are lying at the bottom of this cell. And in the middle of the compartment, sodium amalgam combines with water to produce sodium hydroxide. When concentration of NaOH approaches nearly 99%, the process is stopped, the solution is taken out, and it is then subjected to the crystallization to get pellets of NaOH. Then we have properties and uses of NaOH. It is a crystalline solid. It is used in the preparation of washing soaps. Its melting point is 591 Kelvin. It is deliquescent, can absorb moisture from the air. You might have seen the salt or NaOH during rainy season. They get moist because they absorb moisture from the air. And it is used in the preparation of artificial silk, in the preparation of cotton, and it is used in the cleaning of machines and metal sheets. Then we have give preparation of NaCl. NaCl can be prepared from seawater. It is collected in the shallow tanks at the sea banks, and the seawater evaporates by taking solar energy, leaving behind the mixture of salts which are separated through fractional crystallization and are purified and are sold to the market. Now, what are the uses of sodium, potassium, magnesium and calcium? As we know, they play a very important role. Potassium ion, they play a very important role in the transmission of signal. Sodium ions also help in the transmission of signal in the body and used to regulate flow of water throughout the body. Then we have the next, potassium. It is used in the transportation of sugar, in the synthesis of amino acid, and in the synthesis of carbohydrates, and then they are responsible for oxidation of glucose in the form of ATP Then we have calcium ion, they play important role in the formation of bones and teeth. And then we have the magnesium ions, it is an important component of the chlorophyll, the green pigment of the plant, which is used in the synthesis of compounds. So this is all about our first lecture on exam time questions of alkali metals.